Close your eyes for a second. Imagine it's the year 2026. Maybe we finally have flying cars, or maybe you're just still waiting for that one Amazon package from last week. But here is the dream scenario. You walk into a bank, ask for a loan, and the Federal Reserve has finally lowered interest rates. They are signaling a target of 3%. The nightmare of expensive money is over, right? Champagne for everyone. Yeah, hold that champagne. Because the reality is looking a lot less like a victory lap and a lot more like a bar fight. Here is the shocker. For the first time in ages, the Fed didn't just agree. They had a historic 9-3 split vote. It's chaos. And get this, President Trump isn't just unhappy about the rates, he is threatening to sue the Fed chair for incompetence over office renovations? Seriously, you cannot make this stuff up. But jokes aside, this mess is the single most important signal for your wallet right now. We are staring at a weird economic monster where inflation is high, but jobs are disappearing. So, is 3% the savior, or is it a trap? I have a feeling it's a trap. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why cheap money in 2026 might actually be the most expensive mistake investors make, and exactly how you can dodge the bullet. Buckle up. Let's dive in. This is the Finance Podcast channel. I'm Dr. Arthur Sterling, and as a 20-year veteran economist, I provide the innovative takes you need on global economy and monetary policy. Click subscribe now to unlock a new level of financial understanding. All right, let's look at the scoreboard. The Fed officially cut rates by 0.5 percentage point. We are now sitting in that cozy range of 3.5 to 3.75%. I know, thrilling stuff. I can practically hear you yawning from here. But don't click away, because the devil is in the details, specifically in the head count. The vote was 9-3. You might be thinking, so what? Majority rules, right? Well, usually, yes. But in the world of the Federal Reserve, a 9-3 split is weird. It's rare. Usually, Fed meetings are like a synchronized swimming team. Everyone moves together. Everyone agrees. It's perfectly boring. A unanimous decision is the standard. But 3 dissenters? That's not a meeting. That's a family argument at Thanksgiving dinner. Think about it. These are supposed to be the smartest economists in the room. They have all the data, all the charts, all the supercomputers. And yet, 3 of them looked at the exact same economy and said, no, this is a mistake. That should make you a little nervous. It tells us that the Fed's internal GPS is broken. They don't actually know where the economy is going. One side is terrified of inflation coming back. The other side is terrified the economy is crashing. They are torn. And then there is the weirdest part, the pause. They cut rates by 0.5%, which is a big, aggressive cut, by the way. Usually they only do 0.25%, but then they immediately signaled, okay, now we're going to stop and wait. It makes no sense, right? It's like slamming on the gas pedal and then immediately ripping the handbrake. It screams uncertainty. It tells us they are reacting, not leading. Here is the lesson, folks. When the Fed fights with itself, volatility is coming for your portfolio. They aren't pausing because they are confident. They are pausing because they are trying to figure out which monster is scarier. And right now, they are staring down the barrel of a 2-headed monster that hasn't been seen since the 1970s. A nasty little trap involving tariffs and your job. Now, let's talk about that 2-headed monster. It has a name that economists whisper in the dark to scare each other. Stagflation. Stagflation. Even the word sounds gross, doesn't it? Like something you'd step in. The transcript we looked at earlier dropped a massive hint. Did you catch it? It said, quote, "Inflation remains elevated due to tariffs, coupled with a weakening labor market." Let's translate that into plain English. Imagine you own a lemonade stand. Suddenly, the government slaps a huge tax, a tariff, on imported lemons. Your lemons just got way more expensive. So, what do? You have to raise the price of a cup of lemonade from $1 to $2 just to break even. That is inflation. But here is the kicker. Because your lemonade is now $2, nobody is buying it. Your sales tank. You look at your helper, little Timmy, and say, "Sorry, Timmy, I can't afford to pay you anymore." You fire Timmy. That is unemployment. This is the Fed's nightmare. Usually, the Fed has a simple playbook. If inflation is high, they raise rates to cool things down. If unemployment is high, they cut rates to pump money in. But what on earth do they do when prices are going up and people are losing jobs at the same time? If they cut rates to help Timmy get his job back, inflation explodes and lemonade costs $5. If they raise rates to stop the $5 lemonade, Timmy stays unemployed forever. They are stuck. They are paralyzed. And this isn't just theory. We are seeing tariffs pushing up the cost of everything from steel to sneakers at Walmart. Meanwhile, companies are looking at those costs and starting to trim the fat, meaning the workforce. The lesson here? Don't assume Fed cuts equals good for stocks. In a stagflation trap, a rate cut isn't a stimulus check. It's a desperate attempt to keep the patient alive. But you know what they say? Those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And looking at the charts, I'm getting a very strong sense of déjà vu. Like disco music and bell-bottom jeans kind of déjà vu. Okay, hop in my time machine. We're going back to the 1970s. Ah ha ha ha, staying alive, staying alive. Great music, terrible economy. Meet Arthur Burns. He was the chair of the Federal Reserve back then. Smart guy, pipe smoker, looked very serious. But Arthur had a problem. His boss was President Richard Nixon. And Nixon, well, let's just say Nixon didn't like losing. He wanted the economy to look amazing for the election. So he leaned on Arthur, hard, to keep interest rates low. And Arthur? He caved. He kept printing money when he shouldn't have. The result was a disaster called the Great Inflation. Prices didn't just go up, they spiraled. One year inflation was 6%. Then they hyped rates a tiny bit, panicked, cut them again, and boom, inflation hit 12%, then 14%. It was a policy roller coaster, stop and go. They'd hit the brakes, then hit the gas, then the brakes again. It drove businesses crazy because nobody knew what tomorrow would look like. Fast forward to today. Does that sound familiar? We have a Fed that's cutting rates while inflation is still sticky. We have politicians shouting at the Fed chair. We have supply shocks. It is the Arthur Burns playbook all over again. The scary part isn't the inflation itself. It's that once the inflation genie is out of the bottle because the Fed lost its nerve, it takes a decade to put it back in. And it usually takes a painful recession to fix it. History teaches us one thing. When politics enters the Fed's boardroom, your money loses value. Period. And speaking of politics entering the boardroom, oh boy. If you think Nixon was tough on Arthur Burns, wait until you hear what Trump has in store for Jerome Powell. It makes the 70s look like a tea party. Now, if you think the internal drama inside the Fed meeting room is spicy, look outside the window. We have a full-blown WWE wrestling match happening between the White House and the Federal Reserve. In the blue corner, we have Jerome Powell. In the red corner, President Trump. And the latest weapon of choice? A lawsuit about building renovations. I am not kidding. You saw the transcript. Trump threatened to sue Powell for incompetence over the cost of fixing up the Fed's headquarters in Washington, D.C. Imagine getting sued by the President of the United States because he thinks you overpaid for drywall. But let's be real, this isn't about drywall. It isn't about fancy new curtains. This is about power. Powell's term expires in May 2026. That date is circled in red on every calendar in Washington. Here is the danger. The Federal Reserve is supposed to be independent. They are like the referee in a soccer game. They don't care who wins. They just enforce the rules. But what happens if the team captain starts bullying the referee? Or worse, replaces the referee with his own cousin? If the Fed loses its independence, the dollar in your pocket is in trouble. Politicians, and I don't care which party, red or blue, they all love to print money. It wins votes. Free money for everyone. But the only thing stopping them is a stubborn Fed chair saying no. If that no turns into a yes, sir, say goodbye to the value of your savings. We aren't just watching a feud, we are watching the potential end of the Fed as a guardrail for the economy. And that brings us to the big number everyone is obsessed with, 3%. If the system is changing this much, is 3% actually cheap, or is it just a trap? Hey, real quick, I need to check something. Are you actually still listening, or did I put you to sleep with the drywall talk? If you are still with me and finding this useful, do me a favor and type the number 1 in the comments right now. Just a 1. And hey, if you absolutely hate this video and think I'm annoying, go ahead and smash that like button just to make me mad. That'll really show me. So, let's talk about the magic number everyone is celebrating, 3%. After seeing interest rates skyrocket over 5% and mortgages hitting 7 or 8%, hearing 3% feels like finding an oasis in the desert. You just want to fall to your knees and cry tears of joy. But hold on a second. Are we celebrating because 3% is actually low, or just because it's not painful? It's like hitting your thumb with a hammer for 2 years and then you stop. It feels amazing, sure, but your thumb is still throbbing. Economists have a fancy, nerdy term for this called R star, or the neutral rate. Think of it as the Goldilocks number, the interest rate that keeps the economy running just right, not too hot, not too cold. But here is the problem. We have collective amnesia. Remember the years between 2008 and 2021? Interest rates were basically zero. It was free money. It was a party. You could borrow $1 million and pay back peanuts. That era? It's gone. It's dead and buried. The Fed signaling 3% as the target tells us something huge. The era of free money is over. 3% is the new floor. We aren't going back to zero. This is the new normal. Why does this matter? Because of the zombies. I'm talking about zombie companies. You know the ones. Those tech startups that have never made a single dollar of profit, but they have a super cool office with a ping pong table and free kombucha on tap. Those companies can survive when interest rates are 0%. But at 3%, they can't pay their debts. They suffocate. We are going to see a lot of businesses quietly disappear because their business model was built on a fantasy of free money. So here is the reality check. Money isn't cheap in 2026. It just costs less than last year. There is a big difference. And speaking of things that cost way too much, let's talk about the biggest purchase of your life, the house. Because if you think the Fed hitting 3% means housing prices are going to crash, oh boy, I have some bad news for you. Housing. The American dream. Or, as it feels right now, the American headache. You see the headlines. Fed cutting rates to 3%. And your brain immediately goes, yes, finally! The days of 3% mortgage rates are coming back. I can finally move out of my parents' basement. I hate to be the professional dream crusher here, but no, please don't pack your bags yet. Here is the brutal math that banks don't put on billboards. The Fed rate is not the mortgage rate. Mortgage rates track the 10-year Treasury bond, plus a little extra risk premium for the bank. Right now, that premium is huge because banks are nervous. So even if the Fed goes to 3%, your mortgage might still be stuck at 5%, or 6%. But the real problem isn't the rate. It's a guy named Steve. Let me explain. Steve is my neighbour. He bought his house in 2021. He scored a 2.8% fixed mortgage rate. I know, I hate him too. Now, Steve wants to move. He wants a bigger yard for his dog. But if he sells his house, he loses that beautiful 2.8% loan. To buy a new place, he has to borrow at 6%. His monthly payment would literally double for the same size house. So what does Steve do? He stays put. He doesn't sell. He is trapped in his house by golden handcuffs. This is the lock-in effect. Millions of homeowners are on strike. They refuse to sell. And because nobody is selling, there are no houses to buy. When supply is zero, prices don't crash. They stay high. It's basic supply and demand. Even if buyers are broke, if there is only one house for sale, it's going to be expensive. So here is the hard truth for 2026. Don't wait for a 2008-style crash. It's not coming. The market isn't crashing. It's frozen solid. So, if you can't buy a house, and your savings account interest is about to drop because of the Fed, where on earth do you put your money? Under the mattress? Please don't do that. I have a much better plan.
All right, let's get down to business. We know the Fed is cutting to 3%. We know the housing market is frozen. So, where do you actually put your money so it doesn't get eaten alive by inflation? Rule number 1 for 2026. Stop being lazy with your cash. For the last 2 years, you could be a total financial couch potato. You just threw money into a high-yield savings account, got 5% interest, and watched Netflix. It was glorious. Well, wake up, Sleeping Beauty. That party is over. As soon as the Fed cuts rates, your bank is going to cut your savings rate fast. Probably faster than you can say unfair. If you leave too much cash sitting there, you are basically losing money every single day. So, step 2, look at bonds. I know, bonds. The most boring word in the English language. It sounds like something your grandpa talks about while cleaning his dentures. But right now, boring is beautiful. This is your window, maybe your last window, to lock in yields. If you buy a bond now, you guarantee that interest rate for years, even if the Fed cuts rates to 0 later. It's like signing a cheap rent contract right before the landlord decides to double the price. You want to be holding that contract. Now, for the stock market, you need to change your mindset. In 2021, you could throw a dart at a board and make money. In 2026, you need to be a sniper. Remember those zombie companies we talked about? The ones with lots of debt and no profit? They are going to get crushed. Run away from them. Instead, look for cash cows. Companies that have 0 debt. Companies that make actual money today, not hypothetical money in 2030. Think healthcare, think utilities, Think the big, boring giants that sell toothpaste and toilet paper. Because let's be honest, even if the economy crashes, people still need to brush their teeth. And finally, you need a little bit of chaos insurance. With Trump fighting Powell and tariffs messing up prices, the dollar is going to be volatile. Having a small slice of your portfolio in gold, or yes, even a little Bitcoin, isn't about trying to get rich quick. It's about having an asset that politicians can't print more of. It's your hedge against the referee losing control of the game. So, the game plan is simple. Move your cash, lock in bond rates, buy boring, profitable companies, and buy some insurance. Do that, and you won't just survive 2026, you'll thrive in it. But wait, even with the perfect portfolio, there is one massive trap left. It's the wait and see strategy the Fed mentioned. Why is doing nothing actually the most dangerous move of all? So, here we are at the finish line. The Fed has made their move, and now they say they are going to adopt a wait-and-see approach. Wait and see. It's great advice for deciding if you should bring an umbrella. It is terrible advice for piloting a massive economy through a storm. It's like smelling smoke in your kitchen and saying, you know what, I'm going to wait and see if actual flames appear before I grab the fire extinguisher. By the time you see the flames, the lasagna is already ruined, and so is the house. This is the biggest risk of 2026. The Fed is driving the car while looking in the rearview mirror. Economic data is always old news. By the time they see the problem, it's usually too late to fix it without crashing the car. So, you can't afford to wait. What is your canary in the coal mine? What is the one single number you need to watch like a hawk early next year? Weekly jobless claims. Ignore the stock market rallies. Ignore the politicians shouting on Twitter. Watch the unemployment line. If that number starts ticking up consistently in Q1 2026, the soft landing is dead. That means the stagflation trap has sprung. But hey, don't let this scare you. Volatility is just opportunity wearing a scary mask. We covered a lot today. The historic 9-3 split vote, the Trump versus Powell cage match, the fact that housing is frozen, and the reality that 3% is the new normal, not a return to the glory days. You are now smarter than 99% of the people just reading the headlines. You have a plan. You aren't gambling, you're positioning. Now, I'm going to go wait and see if I can find some coffee. If you found value in this breakdown, destroy that subscribe button. It helps the algorithm, and it helps me afford better coffee. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay liquid, and I'll see you in the next one.